Well, good morning, everyone. Thomas Montgomery here. Today is Tuesday, May 14th, 2024. We get together most weekday mornings. We won't tomorrow, please note. So May 15th, no Zoom tomorrow. But we get together most weekday mornings. And really what brings us together is a common passion. I think we have a passion, a desire, a compelling cause of action to do two things: to help small business owners build their financial literacy, resulting in access to capital, and secondly, to make money for ourselves. And it's okay to make money, right? So if we can solve other people's problems, offer a good or a service that is more valuable than it costs, that's how entrepreneurialism works. And so each of you and us are working together collaboratively to help small businesses become fundable and get money, funding, capital to start or grow. Yesterday, we announced that the No Upfront Cost campaign is live. And so today is going to be, I guess we'll call it part two. We learned a lot from yesterday's launch, so we've made a couple tweaks I wanted to give you an update on. I think they're all good, nothing negative, but did want to give you a few updates. Let's start with what the proposition is to you, and then of course we can talk about the proposition to the client. But the proposition to you is laser focused. We want to help each of you make $5,000 a day. One referral. You don't have to do any selling. You don't have to do any closing. You don't have to do any contracting. You don't have to collect any money. Just simple. You are guaranteed in writing to generate $5,000 every time you refer someone in. So it's simple. And that's what a number of our distribution partners wanted. We have some of you that are very sophisticated and you're running what I would consider a comprehensive sales organization. Take Larry Johnson. So, he's at the far end to the right of the bell curve. We all can't be Larry Johnson. So some of us needed a simpler model to attract clients, where the clients had a valuable proposition, which we'll go through, and no upfront cost, because that's typically their biggest objection. So from your perspective, we've made it simple. Make $5,000 minimum in writing per referral. Now, I talked to some of you, and some of you are not excited about $5,000 a day. I don't know what the hell you do for side income, but I talked to some of you, and there's other things that I guess that you're doing that makes more money. I can't compete with that, but we can certainly help you make $5,000 a day. And if we'd string together a month of that, of course, that puts us right at $150,000 a month. So let's just do a quick poll. So for those of you that are on the live Zoom, we have 327 of you on the live Zoom. If you could go to the Q&A box, it's like a chat box, question and answer box. Is this enough to get your attention? So you would try it for 1 month. And it's okay if it's not, but I guess sometimes we hear there's a disconnect. Some of our distribution partners are struggling through the traditional model, which is asking clients to pay up front, which there's nothing wrong with that in our society, right? Try to book a flight on American Airlines and say, no, I don't want to pay now. I'll pay you when you get me to Miami, right? It doesn't work that way. But so often people have excuses, lots and lots of excuses. I was speaking to one of our new branches this morning, awesome woman, and we went through a list of excuses. And so I would ask, let's take 1 month and let's not make any excuses. Let's just enroll, or not even enroll, refer a client a day, which I'll show you the process. Everyone should have their landing page that looks just like this. Let's do one a day for 30 straight days. And then with that, if it's not meeting your expectations, then that's fine. But I think we need to match effort with desire for income. And sometimes I think some of us want money, but somehow we don't want to take action. So we've made the action crazy simple. So we're providing everyone for free. How much does it cost? It's free. A landing page that looks like this. Why is this landing page important? Well, number one, you'll get one that's coded to you. So anyone that fills this out, it's hard coded to you. So notice it doesn't ask referred by who. It doesn't matter. You'll have a link. And this site, just so you know, is fundingproposal.online. So this is kind of the mothership. Everyone will have one that's coded to you, coded specifically to you. Now, the landing page is a data capture form, of course, but it has automation behind it. And so when people fill this out, they'll opt in and then they'll receive a series of text. And I've even broken it down of what they're going to get. So you can test it. You can go to your landing page and you can fill it out and you'll get the same drip campaign. So you can see that it works. 1 minute after a person opts in, they'll get their first invitation to get their free funding proposal. And then we wait a day and wait a day and wait a day and wait a day. Now, the truth is we alter the times of days strategically for each of these, but I won't get too deep into the weeds. But the bottom line is we have 5 points of contact. Plus, we're hiring, as I mentioned yesterday, a young lady. She's going to be the program manager. So then she'll also reach out, and we'll hire more as we need, but she'll also verbally reach out to everyone that's coming through to encourage them to get their funding proposal, because there's no upfront cost and they can see what offers they get. And I'm going to give you the statistics from yesterday, from day one. She is a registered nurse. She's going to be working part-time with us during her 2-week notice period. Then she'll be full-time. She's a former National Guardsman or National Guardswoman. I forget her MOS, but she was a combat engineer. So she's one of those people that knows how to hook explosives to the gas tank of the enemy's car. So when they start the car, it blows up. So we all agree we won't make her mad at us. But the bottom line is she's smart. She's motivated. She's not a sales-oriented person. She's a clinician. She's a technician. And she's going to be able to help your prospects understand why this is the right thing to do. All right, so going back up. So everyone gets a landing page. You all should have your landing page that looks like this. If you don't have it, then schedule our one-on-one, or we even have maybe a simple approach. Just email us a request. I know some of you somehow are too busy to afford 15 minutes a week to have a one-on-one. I don't know how you can be that busy, but if you're that busy, we've made it simpler down here at the bottom. Just email us a request for your landing page. We'll send you an email, and that email is going to have a link. So again, there's no cost. What I told you yesterday was wrong. I didn't know it was wrong when I told you, but what I told you yesterday was wrong, because I said that if you wanted to participate in this campaign, what we call the no upfront cost campaign, there was going to be just an addendum to your branch license agreement. I didn't realize it, but that was wrong information. Instead, they came up with a little simple agreement. Doesn't cost anything. There's no production goals, but it's essentially tailored to this specifically. So what will happen, you can email us saying, hey, I want my landing page. I want to promote this campaign. And then we'll email you with a link to complete, and then they'll set up your landing page. All right, so back up to the top. How did yesterday go? Few bumps in the road because it was day one of the new campaign, but we had a decent day overall. So we had almost 250 funding proposals processed yesterday. So not a huge day, but not a bad day for day one of a new campaign. The average participant received 8 cash offers, some many more. I think one person had over 60, but everyone gets at least one, which is the point down here. But the point is that the average number of offers is 8, and each participant can choose one or more. The average amount, and we call this first tranche, because the funding proposal is taking the person where they are in their business right now and getting them funding. Then we work with them to get them a minimum of 100,000. So we're not saying, hey, from day one, you'll get 100,000. Some people do, some people don't. So here we're talking about the average first tranche from yesterday's proposals was $35,621. So that means half the people got bigger offers and half the people got smaller offers. Of course, that's what an average is. But the bottom line is it's not bad for a first tranche. What happens when a client, so you got Chris Tyler on here. So Chris Tyler refers in a client, let's just say they're a typical client, an average client. So Chris refers in a client gets 8 offers, 35,000 that they have access to. Client gets funded within a couple days. Think how strong of a position Chris is now, because maybe that client didn't really trust Chris before to enroll in the startup program. Maybe that client didn't trust Chris before to pay anything up front for the startup program. But now if the client's sitting on 35,000, you don't think that that client trusts Chris now? Of course they do. And you don't think that that client's willing now to strengthen their business so they can have a more fundable business? Of course they will. We consistently, that doesn't mean always, but in most cases, once you get a client funding, they'll buy into it, they'll engage, and they'll invest into their business. So that's the beauty here, is that by you leveraging the no upfront cost campaign, it's not taking away that 25, 26,000 that you would expect to make from each client going through the startup program. It's just allowing you to bring in someone that doesn't have that much trust in you yet, because here they can get started with no out of pocket. Program highlights have not changed. So it's the same as we talked about yesterday. So you're making 5 points of the client's capital raise. That's how it's written. So if the client has 100,000, which is the minimum, you get paid 5,000. So you know you're going to make at least $5,000 each time you refer someone in. I realize to a lot of you that's not a big deal, but it's essentially passive income, and there's a little bit of a twist on that, I guess. I mean, you had to generate the lead, but the bottom line is afterwards, our staff does all the work, and you're just getting paid every tranche, every round of funding. So let's say that Chris referred in this hypothetical client received 35,000. So now Chris is getting a commission of that of 5%. So let me break out my calculator on my phone, because I don't trust me doing the math in my head. So let's see if I can find the calculator. Okay, so here's the calculator. So 35,621 times 0.05. So Chris made $1,781.05. So we'll add that. So your commission, $1,781.05, because that's 5% of the first tranche. Now, some people get more, some people get less. Again, we're going to work with everyone. That's what we promise to do. We contractually guarantee that we'll work with them to get them from where they are to where they need to be for 100,000. That's the ongoing service that we're providing, and that's how the guarantee works. So you know you'll make at least 5,000. Will you make 5,000 day one? No, right? Because day one, we've got to go get them their offers, their funding proposals, and they need to choose which one or which ones they want, and then they have to fund out. So you're looking at an average of a 7-day lag. But in this example, if Chris were the branch that referred him in, Chris would be making $1,781.05. We'll just say in about a week, which isn't bad. And then we work with the client to help them become more fundable, to get up to the 100,000. Every time they get another round of funding, Chris gets another check. So when I made reference that it's kind of passive income, it kind of is. You're just continuously getting paid from the same client over and over. Not to the client's disadvantage, they're getting funding, so they're happy too. Again, there's no upfront cost for the clients to enroll. We've covered the guarantee. So Karen, did I address your question well enough? So, how does this guarantee work? Because it's in writing, right? This isn't just some salesmanship. This is an FTC, Federal Trade Commission, compliant contract. We had it reviewed by the Federal Trade Commission. It's 100% legal, ethical. It's real. It works. So what we're telling the client is enroll. You pay nothing up front. We'll get you whatever you qualify for now. We'll work with you to raise a minimum contractually of at least 100,000. Hopefully that makes sense, Karen, to answer your question. Okay. So let's see. And yes, everyone gets at least one offer, so no one's turned away. Now, what's the offer look like? It varies, right? In dollar amount and repayment term, it varies. Don't oversimplify it, because that's naive to think, well, what's the interest rate going to be? I don't know. We'll have to see what offers they qualify for, and they'll probably have multiple offers. We've already covered it. And the offers will probably be for different amounts, and they'll probably have different repayment terms, and they'll probably have different interest rates. But the client doesn't have to accept any offers that they don't want. And that's what the point is here. Now, a couple of you yesterday didn't contribute to this. You didn't refer any because you're overcomplicating it. So, for instance, there's no minimum credit score. You don't need to filter people out based upon anything, right? Other than their willingness to fill out your landing page and enroll. So there's no minimum credit scores to enroll, no minimum time in business, so forth. So don't make it more complicated than what it is. Faiz has a really good question. So let's use this hypothetical example. So Chris, talked to Chris this morning. He's awesome. He's one of our new branches. So let's say Chris brought in this hypothetical client. Client received 8 offers totaling 35,000. Chris made his, let's say, 2,000. I'll round off around 2,000 commission, which is a good start. And then Faiz's question is, does Chris need to upsell them into the startup program? Well, yeah, if Chris wants to enroll them into the startup program, which provides a really strong value proposition, which you all should be familiar with, then yeah, Chris would need to do that. If Chris doesn't do it, then he doesn't do it, right? So this is not a gift. This is a payout to the branch for feeding people into their landing pages. And if you want subsequent payouts, you need to do your job, and no offense. So hopefully that's clear, Faith. All right. So I think it's really attractive because a number of you just tell me how busy you are. You're so busy, and that's fine. I'm sure you're busy. I'm busy. We're all busy. But this is about the least amount of time and effort possible, right? You generate a lead. That's your job. You've got to be able to generate a lead. If you can't generate a lead, go get a job, right? Because any entrepreneur needs to be able to generate clients, right? Otherwise, no business will stay in business if you can't generate clients. So either generate clients yourself, outsource it, hire someone. But if you can't do it, just go get a job. You shouldn't be an entrepreneur. No offense. But other than generating the lead and asking them if they want a free funding proposal, and here's essentially all that you need to know to tell them, that's it. What we strongly recommend is, sorry, let me get rid of that highlighting. What we strongly recommend is send them your link when you're on the phone with them, and stay on the phone with them while they're filling it out. So don't just be passive, generate the lead. Now, if you want to just put it on Facebook or wherever and just drive people to your landing page, you can do that. But better would be to have the person on the phone, text them your link while you're on the phone with them, have them fill this out, which takes how long, right? 5 seconds. They know their first name, last name, phone, email. They check the box. They check the blue box here. And then what happens? They immediately get a text that asks, do they want to opt in? Type yes. So that's really what is best practice for you to do. If you want to be even more hands-off, you can, but if you do that, you're going to be better off. Faiz asked about the performance fee to the client. Yes, the performance fee to the client is 10%, and half of that goes to you, which is what we talked about. All right, so as I mentioned briefly earlier, we have made a slight change, but just because so many of you are wanting this and some of you are slow to schedule a one-on-one. So we'll make it even easier. Email us and say, hey, I want that free funding proposal landing page, right? I want to participate in that no upfront cost campaign. Great. Then we'll email you the link to complete. It doesn't cost anything. There's no production requirements. There's no strings attached, but essentially it's tied to this campaign. They decided to keep it as a standalone. And then once you complete that, we'll get your landing page up. So an example would be Jenny. I talked to Jenny last night. Oh, I don't know. It was probably 7 p.m. is my guess, Central. She filled out the form, and then already this morning, her landing page is live. So they're turning them around pretty quick. It just depends upon how many people are in front of you. And then we've covered what happens with the drip campaign. So with this being said, this doesn't replace the startup program, right? This does not do what the startup program does. The startup program provides a credible address. It provides free filing with the Secretary of State. It provides the trade lines. It provides the 10,000. There's lots of things that's involved with the startup, but the startup requires an investment because there's expenses involved. But if you have a client that doesn't trust you enough to enroll in the startup program, which does have an upfront cost, then just avoid the conflict or the delay and just bring them on over here. Let's get them some funding. And our experience has been once the client has funding, then they'll trust you. And then they'll be willing, most likely, to enroll in the startup program. Even if they don't enroll in the startup program, you're still guaranteed $5,000 here. But if you do this plus the startup program, you're looking at over $30,000 of gross income per client. And again, I know a lot of you are very successful, but my goodness, for a side gig where you're making $30,000 per client, I can't imagine that that's not worth your while. So who's willing to give it a try? I guess. I mean, we've got a small number of you that are active, which is great, but this number should have a comment in it, right? We should be doing over 1,000 of these deals on a daily basis because people need funding, and I'm assuming you would like to make more income. It's simple. So questions, comments, concerns that anyone has that we can cover today. So again, email us. You can ask the email support. We've got a number of different emails, but the easiest is probably support@chapmanloanprogram.org. So you email us and say, hey, I want it. And then we'll send you an email with a link to set up. It is a separate agreement that complements the branch, doesn't cost anything. There's no production goals. There's no strings attached. It's just when they set this up, they may end up taking this program and doing something really large with it. So because of that potential strategic plan, they needed this to be a standalone. So that's just a little background of why they're positioning it as standalone. So if you're looking to earn extra income and help people, I don't know that it gets any better than this. Questions, comments, concerns, and anyone need assistance? All right, we have a couple guests on that are asking how to get plugged in. Okay, so let's add. So if you are not currently a distribution partner, simply go to makingmillionaires.org. And so you can, and the Making Millionaires, maybe it sounds corny to you, but our goal is for each of you that are distribution partners to generate at least 100,000 a month. That's the clear goal. That's our vision. That's our mission. 100,000 a month times 12 months in a year puts you at 7 figures. So that ties to that. And then, as you know, well, you may know, we talked about it, but we've been selected where they're doing kind of a documentary on the program, and the topic of the documentary is Making Millionaires, whereby we're working with individuals like yourselves, giving you the training, the tools, the support. So each of you are now running $1 million business. Any questions, comments, concerns, anything that we can help you with? So again, no Zoom tomorrow. Going to be traveling tomorrow. We'll be back on Thursday, but that's okay. So instead of spending 30 minutes together tomorrow morning, why don't we go reach out to prospects? Why don't we drive them in to your landing page? And why don't you make money? Spend the 30 minutes that you'd normally spend on the Zoom with us and go talk to 6 people, 5 minutes apiece. Out of those 6, I bet 3 of which will participate. 3 times 5,000 is $15,000. So by me not taking your time tomorrow, we're empowering you to make $10,000 to $15,000 tomorrow. I mean, does it get better than that? All right. Well, if you need anything, let us know. We'll be back Thursday morning, 8 o'clock Central. Appreciate your time. Have a great day. Bye-bye.